Hello and welcome to the video on completing the square. Remember our three cases that we did in the last video? Well, we're going to apply these and create a new way of solving quadratic equations. Now, to complete the square, your A coefficient, because standard quadratic form looks like this, your A coefficient has to be 1. So you get x squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Now, c is going to equal b divided by 2 squared. That's a rule of quadratics, because that's just how it is. Because look at this. Actually, first we'd have to boil it down. So we'd get x plus bx, and since c is, that's going to be b over 2 squared. Oh, and that's x squared is equal to 0. Now, we could factor this all down. This is going to become a, that's a, and then this over here is our b. When we were doing ax plus b, this is our ax right here, and then this is our b, so plus b over 2 squared. So this can be rewritten, this whole thing can be rewritten as this, right here. So, let's apply that. Question 1. X squared plus 8x plus 15. Now, what are we trying? Well, you could see that you could factor this immediately if this is equal to 0, which it is, because you could factor this, the 15 would factor into 3 and 5, and those add up to 8, but we're going to complete the square. Since we have our 8x, we have to figure out what our c term is going to be. Our c term has to be 16, because 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 4 squared is 16. To get to 16, we're going to have to add 1 on both sides. That's going to get us x squared plus 8x plus 16 is equal to 1. I mean, you might think, well, you're not allowed to solve quadratics that aren't equal to 0. In completing the squares case, you can. Now, this is going to simplify to something. This is going to simplify to x. Remember, this is b over 2 squared. So it's going to simplify to x plus b over 2, and then the whole thing squared. So in this case, b over 2 is 4, because 4 squared is 16. So this is all going to become x, since we have x squared, plus 4, and this whole binomial squared. And if you were to FOIL this, you would get that, this trinomial right above it. Now, let's take the square root of both sides. Oops, I went too far up. What does this tell us? Well, that's going to be x plus 4 is equal to plus or minus 1. Because the square root of 1 is 1, you always have to add the plus or minus. So now we just subtract 4 on both sides. So x equals negative 4 plus or minus 1. So x equals negative 4 plus 1, negative 3 or negative 5. Beautiful, isn't it? Okay. Well, we're ready for another problem. X squared plus 6x. What is that? That's plus 6x plus 16 is equal to 0. Well, let's think about it. What is 6 divided by 2? That's 3. 3 squared is 9. So we want to get 9 instead of the 16. So how do you get from 16 to 9? Well, you subtract. And what would you subtract? You subtract 7. I'll subtract 7 on both sides. And we'll get that x squared plus 6x, yes, plus 9 is equal to negative 7. So what does this simplify down to? This boils down to x plus 3 squared, because this is the x right here, and this is the b divided by 2. This all factors down, and you get negative 7 on this side. Now, let's take the square root of both sides. But then, another problem arises. We've always taken the square roots of positive numbers. We can't take the square root of a negative number because nothing times itself equals a negative number. Because a negative times a negative always equals a positive, and a positive times a positive is equal to a positive. Because you have to find two numbers that multiplied by each other with the same signs equal negative 1, and you can't do that. So right now I'm going to introduce something known as I. The square root of negative 1 is equal to I, also known as the imaginary unit. So, for instance, right now we have rad negative 7. What are we going to do about that? Well, that's the same thing as rad negative 1 times rad 7, because by a times b is equal to ab. So that would be negative 1 times rad 7 is equal to negative 7. But we just established that negative 1 is equal to I. So what are we going to do here? We're just going to write this as I rad 7. Pretty simple, right? So we're going to continue the problem knowing that. On this side it becomes x plus 3. On this side we got the equals plus or minus I rad 7. Even though it's imaginary, the plus or minus still must happen, because that happens no matter what. So x, and we're going to subtract 3 on both sides, x equals negative 3 plus or minus I rad 7. Seems right. So pretty much what you want to do the whole time is get a perfect square trinomial. This is called a perfect square trinomial. So what is a perfect square trinomial? Perfect square trinomial is one that boils down to a binomial squared. This is a binomial, and when you square it, you get a perfect square trinomial. I hope I haven't confused you too much, and if I have, Khan Academy can help. I just started this, so I'm not exactly sure on how to do this. Well, no, I know how to do the material, it's just kind of hard to explain, especially quadratics. So, pretty much, that is our final answer. X equals negative 3 plus or minus I rad 7. Thank you very much.